It has been a few months since YouTube has been bombarded with videos about AI tools like Midjourney and ChatGPT. And in these YouTube videos, people are using text inputs, also called text prompts, and put them in ChatGPT to generate website text, pieces of code to improve their website, and images with Midjourney to get a starting point for their design. And now Elementor has announced that they're gonna use AI in their product as well. And if creating text and images is only the beginning, then maybe in a year or two from now, Elementor AI will be able to generate a whole website. So what will happen to us as web designers? Will clients still pay for the skill to build Elementor websites? That's the question I want to explore in this video. So ChatGPT and Midjourney have dominated the market since the beginning of the year. But now, since a month or two, they've also allowed other companies to build things with their technology. Similar to how Elementor allows other companies to build add-ons on top of Elementor. So that's why we're seeing a lot of paid new AI tools on the market, but also a lot of companies implementing AI into their products. And to be honest, I wouldn't think that Elementor would be this fast. But here they are already. I don't know if you've seen it, but it's kind of like ChatGPT inside of your Elementor. So instead of writing the prompt in the ChatGPT website itself, you just do it inside of your Elementor. It's a little bit more convenient because you have a few suggestions. For example, make it longer, make it shorter, which can be nice. You can even do translate, which is also nice. And you can use it to create custom code, CSS in this example. So in the CSS section in Elementor, you can now put in a prompt. You have to know what you're typing because otherwise it's probably not going to work. So this takes some practice, but it's nice that it's now integrated in Elementor. Well, it's not like integrated into the product. It's a separate product and it will probably be a paid product, but we're just talking about what is possible now. So the next logical step for Elementor to take is, of course, to implement this in the image widget, so that when you need an image, you can also generate an image with AI, which then uses like a Midjourney technology. I don't know what kind of framework they use, but something like that. And even though I think it's awesome that they did this and they were actually very fast with it, even though it's still a beta, it is the most obvious thing to do because website building is all about text and images, right? And we now have two amazing tools that can generate text and images. So it's cool, but it's not mind-blowing because you can also just have Elementor open and instead of clicking write with AI, you just go to ChatGPT in another tab and then you copy and paste. But where Elementor AI can become a threat for web designers is when Elementor actually combines different tools into one. Right now, it's just one button, you have to click it and then it generates a little text. Or in the future, it will probably generate images. It's nice, but if they make a combination between those tools and also implement the design part, then maybe it will be possible to generate these text, generate even the icons, the images, and also like a layout. Because of course, there are common things in web design, like how many types of menus do you have, right? Maybe like 10. How many types of heroes do you have? How many types of services pages do you have, right? Maybe, I don't know, 30 different designs in terms of layout. So AI can understand this. So when they would build something like that, then it will become a threat. And I've seen one company do it. I don't know if it's good, but I just want to show you. Look at this, guys. It's a company called 10Web. And what they're saying, I haven't tested it, but what they're saying is that you can generate a website, a full website with AI, and it's Elementor based. What? I didn't know. So this is something I definitely will test because I just almost don't believe it. And right now it will probably create very generic websites. And the way it's built is probably not that good because let's be honest, Elementor has just switched to the container model. And there are so many things that you need to know in the container in order to make an actual good website that is also good responsive. But hey, this is just the first version. Elementor can like work together with a company like this, but the chances are very high that they're already working on something like this themselves. Because how amazing would that be, right? Especially if you can test with different designs. So for example, like this, where you can change the design with AI and then also the content. That would be a game changer. And I am gonna test this because I'm very curious to see how it works. But I've spent so much time in the container that I know that it's not that easy to build a good website with just AI. Most AI tools are not that smart yet. They are smart, don't get me wrong, this is amazing, but not that smart yet. So I think before we have a tool that's actually useful, we have to wait like 1 or 2 years. But again, I'm gonna test this one. For now, that's not the point. So if this tool can do your job, then where is your job? This, of course, is the whole discussion. Will this kill my jobs? How many jobs will this kill? And then there are always the optimistic people who say like, yeah, you know what? When the tractor came out, the farmers didn't lose their job. It was just a new tool to work in the farm and it's much more efficient, but they're still farmers. And yes, that is true, but probably in the past, it took a lot more people to actually run a farm than it is today. So I am pretty sure that a lot of people actually lost their job on the farm. And farmers don't only plow the land, that's what tractors do, right? Or farmers don't only carry stuff. No, they do a lot more things in the farm. It's a whole set of responsibilities in order to run a farm. And that's why the farmers also didn't go out of business, even though I still think that it took a lot more people to run a farm in the past. I'm pretty sure about that. So I am not so optimistic about everybody keeping their job, okay? I think you need to adapt. So let's talk about the people that will actually lose their job. I wouldn't want to make a video if it's just to demotivate you. I do want to give some hope, but I think there is some work to do for many people to adapt. So I will tell you what I think you should do, but before that, I just want to point out a big opportunity that is here now for the upcoming years. Because you can get into the doom scenario right now. Let's say that after this video you think like, oh shit, okay, maybe he has a point, maybe my job is at risk, right? Maybe. First of all, I want to say a few things. Who are your clients? Your clients are probably a little bit older than you. You know all these new technologies. You're like the cool kid on the block, right? That knows a lot about computers. So before your clients, before the older generation will find out how this all works, it will probably be years. Even though if Elementor AI, let's say, is like amazing, they can generate a whole website in minutes, right? Let's say. So even then, it will take them years to figure that out. And many old people are also scared of the new technology. So it's actually a gold mine from the moment that these tools become smarter to the big masses actually figuring out how it works. That gap in between that time is a big opportunity to make money. Of course, there's also the ethical thing. Maybe you shouldn't charge people that much when it's not a lot of work. That is another conversation. I think that clients should pay for the end result and not just for your time. But of course, there is a point to make. When it's not a lot of work, then it shouldn't cost a lot of money. And this is just what happens anyways. I mean, this is what technology does. When something is really easy to create, the cost will go down anyways because the competitors will do it. So at some point you have to do it as well. So I'm not a big fan of the whole value-based pricing conversation that I see on channels like The Future, for example. I mean, these guys are very smart, don't get me wrong. I still think it's a service business and that time is an important factor in determining the price, even though it should not be only based on price, especially in the future when it will become more a service business. I will make that point later, but for now, I just want to point out that there's a big opportunity because it will take some years before your clients are going to figure out how this works. And this is not about scamming people. If your clients are scared of using it, well, they will pay you to do it for them. That's not scamming people, that's just helping them. So the next few years, I don't think you have to worry. The early birds will get the worm. Never forget that. So let's go back to the scenario in a few years. Elementor AI is amazing. It can generate a whole website in minutes and you can change the design. You can propose different designs to your clients. You can send links to them so that they can choose. Or you can generate all of your designs in Figma and then there's an automatic converter from Figma to Elementor. That will be all amazing. So let's say that it only takes a few hours to build a whole website, right? The question still is, are clients gonna pay for it? In that situation, if you only have Elementor skills, then your market value will be less. But hey, running a web design business is not just about Elementor skills, even though a lot of people think that it is. But here's my big point. all the other skills outside of building things with Elementor will become more important. Think about doing research for your clients, because there's always a gap between what your client thinks they want and what the client actually needs. That gap can only be closed by human interaction and human skill. This takes communication. You have to talk to them. You have to do research about their company. You have to understand a little bit about different business models so that you can figure out what kind of website they actually need for their business. And this is also the key to selling websites for a lot more money. People always ask me like, how do you sell websites for thousands of dollars or euros? I'm like, well, it's all about your process, the communication you have with your clients. Because let's say your client thinks that he needs a web shop, and you're just like, wait, no, you don't need a web shop. Let me do some research. I think you need this. And you convince him, then he will see you as the expert. He will trust you because he thinks you know more about building websites than him. Not just about Elementor. No, about what they need. And that is where the big money is. Because you are the expert and they are hiring an expert, not just an Elementor dude who builds websites. You see the difference here? Another one is client communication via email. Very important. Yes, I know, you can use ChatGPT to write your emails, but still, sometimes you need to adapt. ChatGPT will not always be able to create a good response because sometimes you also have to use your gut feeling, right? Do I trust this person? How does ChatGPT know? So writing good emails will become more important. Going to meetings, actually communicating, looking the client in the eye and asking them questions, making them feel heard. Not hurt, but heard. Relationship building. So yes, you have your client, but what about maintaining the relationship, sending them a little card on Christmas, stuff like that, giving them a little present, stopping by the office once in a while, if that's possible. Calling on the phone. You know how many people these days are scared to call on the phone? I love to call on the phone because then I hear their voice. I hear if they are frustrated and you can tackle things a lot better. So those skills the AI can never do. So you see what this is? Running a web design business is a lot more service than just building or designing websites with Elementor. So business skills and social skills will become a lot more important. So this is what I think you should focus on. But okay, this will take some time to develop because you need to build those skills. So what is going to happen in the meantime? Because I think Elementor AI, it's great, but I don't think they're going to build what I just said to you in like a year, maybe two. I don't know how fast this technology will go, but I think there are 3 scenarios which are more realistic and will probably happen earlier than this perfect Elementor AI scenario I just described. So let's go over them. I think the first scenario that is more likely to happen is a Figma AI that is really good at generating designs. I've already seen some plugins like this one, try it, where you can give a prompt and then it will give you some images and some text. But what I think is going to happen is that Figma itself, because Figma is now part of Adobe and Adobe is also very active with using AI. I don't know if you've seen it, what they're doing with Premiere Pro. Let's just focus on Figma. If they're going to build a tool and you can generate different designs, that will be so amazing. This is probably around the corner. I'm pretty sure they're working on this. It would be very stupid if they didn't, because this is possible. Maybe not now, but like in a few months probably. So let's say that Figma AI can generate all kinds of designs. Well, then you still have to have some design skills because sometimes your clients want adjustments. Well, sometimes actually always. So then a human needs to go in and they need to make adjustments. And then you need to know what you're doing. You still need to know things about balance and color, spacing, but also things about branding. What fits the brand? The AI cannot understand every brand there is, right? The AI cannot understand what kind of vibe your client had in mind. And you don't even understand it. So how can you create a good prompt in order to generate the ideas? So this is probably going to happen, but you will still need design skills in order to change it. The next scenario, which I think is likely to happen, is a company that will allow you to transport your design from Figma to Elementor. It will not be perfect because it doesn't understand dynamic content, but for the visual part, it will. There's actually a company which I'm gonna make a video about. It's pretty new. As you can see, they're not so popular. Okay, they have some views, as you can see, but this is not big yet. This is pretty new, but maybe Figma or Elementor itself will build a tool like this. which is also a high probability. And this will then reduce the time you have to spend in Elementor in order to rebuild the whole design. I think it will take some time to be perfect because again, the container is not easy. It's quite an aggressive beast. And it hasn't even been launched fully yet because the CSS grid is also coming to Elementor container, but it can help you to reduce time. Let's be honest about it. Let's not be too pessimistic. AI will become better. And why I'm so confident about this is because Webflow has actually done the exact same thing. They have just launched this. It's a powerful plugin that will allow you to export your Figma design to Webflow. And Webflow now is pretty similar to how Elementor works because Webflow is also built on the container. And from what I've seen, this actually works pretty well. It works section by section based, but it's pretty good because the container is a flexbox model and Figma also works with a flexbox design, which I call auto layout. So auto layout is very similar to flexbox. So that's why it's possible to create designs that actually are already pretty responsive on Elementor. And maybe you need to relink all of your text layers and whatever. But again, this is from the company Webflow itself. So it's not a bad product because they have a very good reputation. They don't build crap. So Elementor can also build something like this. And then that will reduce our time. Scenario number 3 is searching for inspiration. I don't know if this is here yet. If not, then this is, I think, an opportunity for entrepreneurs to build something in Figma where you can search for inspiration on the web. So right now, if you want to search for inspiration, you just go to Behance and then you start searching for example, web design barber, right? And you search for inspiration. But you need to search on this website. You want to search on a website like Dribbble. You have a ton of different websites. How cool would it be if you would just be inside of Figma and then have a prompt like give me that, and then it generates a list with images and links with inspiration from websites, not generated AI images because that's not good enough now, but like real images, so that it picks a few images from Behance, it picks a few images from Dribbble, and it brings it all together. I don't know if that's even a legal thing to do, but something like that I think has a high possibility of existing because it's technically already pretty possible. I think so. Maybe I'm too optimistic, but I think it's possible that can exist. So it will take some time for Elementor AI to become this amazing, super easy build website tool. But I think in like 5 years from now, this can happen. So then if your only skills are to build things with Elementor, well, then you are at risk. So I would say focus more on soft skills than hard skills. Even though hard skills are very important still, because AI is just in the beginning phase. Soft skills are more like the human skills, right? So social interaction, knowing how to write, being on the phone, and hard skills are more easy to measure. So for example, can you build this specific website? It's more technical, like yes, I can do that, and you can measure it. That those are the hard skills. So if you already want to prepare yourself for the future, use those terms, soft skills and hard skills, and then focus on the soft skills and try to figure out what that is, because that is something that the AI will not be able to replicate in, I don't know, for a very long time, because those are the human things, right? And I want to end this video by saying that I think it's also smart to start learning how to write good prompts. I think people underestimate this. You know, you've probably seen your parents someday trying to type something into Google if they have a problem, and then they type something that doesn't even give them the right answer because they don't know what to type into Google. You've seen that? I've seen it. Because they don't have a lot of experience with Google, so they just don't know what to type in, and then they don't get the answer that they want. This, of course, will be the same with AI. Even though AI is a little bit smarter, the prompts are really important to generate, especially if you want to generate CSS-like code. If you make a mistake and it gives you the wrong code and you don't know what the code means, then how are you gonna fix it? It will create more problems. Being able to write good prompts will be a very valuable skill in the future. So that is something you can focus on as well. So what am I gonna do? Well, for me personally, I'm also thinking about making my business more a personal or more a service kind of business, because I was thinking about productizing my business, making everything really efficient. And I'm still gonna do that because, like I said, there's a big opportunity now using these tools before the big masses find out how everything works. So you can still make a lot of money with that. But in the future, yeah, I think the soft skills are really important, and being better on the phone and in email will also generate the money that you probably want to make with your web design business. But I'm also skeptical because I know Elementor, I know how many variables there are, how many things can go wrong in a website. So it will take some years, guys. Don't believe the marketing too much, like, oh, you don't have to do anything anymore. Well, that's not the case. It's the same with Elementor saying like, oh, it's for everyone can use it, even if you don't know code, but there's so many coding references in the tool, right? So don't believe all the marketing, don't get too deep into the hype, but be aware because the world is changing. What do you think? Do you share my perspective? Do you think I'm missing something? Let me know. It's interesting to have a conversation. Put it in the comments, right? And then hopefully I will see you in the next video.